Today's lecture will provide an overview of Dreamweaver and the user interface. First, let's go ahead and open Dreamweaver, going to Applications, and look for Dreamweaver under my Applications. So Dreamweaver is starting up here. First, let's talk a little bit more about HTML documents. Basically, the purpose of your web browser is to interpret HTML documents and display them as web pages. The browser doesn't show you the HTML coding or tags, but uses the tags to translate the content of the pages into what you see on a web page. Adobe Dreamweaver is the industry standard for designing and developing websites. Dreamweaver sites can be very simple or very complex, and just like Adobe InDesign, which some of you may have used as a layout program for print, Dreamweaver is a layout program for the web. One thing to keep in mind as you start developing your website, make sure to name your pages using characters that are guaranteed to work. These characters include A through Z using lowercase letters only. 0 through 9 hyphens and underscores. Just to show you an example of a project that I was working on, as you can see, all my HTML pages use lowercase only, and you could use an underscore or hyphen if you wanted with numbers 0 to 9. All right, back to Dreamweaver. In our second tutorial in Module 3 in this course, you'll be exploring the site structure, organization, and naming convention for the Kinetic Bistro site tutorial. I'll cover that more in depth in a video later on in Module 3. For now, the following presentation will familiarize you with the elements involved with how to use Dreamweaver. Feel free to pause this presentation at any time and follow along in Dreamweaver. If you're not already familiar with the Dreamweaver interface, it might seem intimidating. Even users of previous versions will find this introduction useful because some of the elements may have changed in the past several versions. Remember that we are just trying to get used to the behavior of the user interface right now, and we'll complete more projects in depth later on. As you open Dreamweaver, look at the application environment. If you are using a Mac, you can enable or disable the application frame to control the overall environment. Here you can go to Window Application Frame to turn it off, and then you can see your desktop behind Dreamweaver, and then you can simply select it to turn it back on. Contextual menus present options that are specific to the object or elements where the menu is open. On Macintosh OS, you can have the right-click capability, or you can press the Command key while clicking to access these contextual menus. Let's look at the panel here. The dock is the area around the screen or application frame if enabled, and you can lock the panels into place in the dock. Here I have files open. You can drag that out, and then you can dock it back in the panel. We have CSS Designer and our Insert panel. You can click on an icon to expand the panel, double-click a drop zone to collapse it into the title bar, drag a tab to reposition a single panel, or drag a drop zone to reposition an entire panel group. If you want to go ahead and play around with the panels, you can. You can personalize the user interface by saving a custom workspace to recall panels in the specific position where they were saved. Right now, I'm in standard mode. You can save your current workspace, you can create a new space, and then there's also the developer workspace, which we'll talk more about later. Although Dreamweaver can be used to build individual HTML pages with no links to external files, the application is more commonly used to build entire sites. The Manage Sites dialog box is used to create new sites or import existing ones into the application. I'm going to go back to Files and I have my Rentals folder open, and I'm going to select Manage Sites. So you see here I have several sites open, and you can export or import the files here. The Dreamweaver site file stores information about the site, such as URL, FTP, login, etc. I'm going to go back to Manage Sites and open another project site. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and export the Rentals site. And when I export, you can see that it gives me the extension STE. So what I'm doing here is not deleting the site, but I'm simply exporting it and retaining all the site information as I do that. I can go ahead and save it. It's telling me it already exists. I'm going to cancel it and then click Done. I'm going to collapse Dreamweaver right now so you can see where I'm saving my sites. You will want to create a work in progress folder on your desktop or your thumb drive, and make sure to keep your folders well labeled and organized. You want to select a root folder. The root folder is simply the base folder that contains the files of your site. This is referred to as the local root folder because it's the folder on your computer system. When you upload the site files to a web server, you place the files in the remote root folder. When you import a site, the application processes the files in the site to identify links and other information required to maintain the integrity of the overall site. So the site becomes available in the Files panel. I'm going to close out of this and go back to Dreamweaver, and you can see my Files panel has my root folder here. The Files panel provides access to all the elements that make up a website, including the page files, images, downloadable PDFs, anything else required for the site to display properly. On a Mac, the expanded folders show a down-facing arrow. On the Windows platform, it'll be a minus sign, where you can collapse the folder and then it will change to a plus symbol. For Dreamweaver to effectively monitor and manage the various links required to support your files, you should only open and change site files from within the Files panel. So you don't want to go back to your root folder and change things around there. Only want to move things around in the Files panel in Dreamweaver. If you open and change a file outside the context of the Files panel, Dreamweaver can't keep track of those changes, which can result in broken links. Double-clicking a page file in the Files panel opens that file. So I'm going to go ahead and double-click on an HTML page, and that opens up that page in Dreamweaver. Each document tab shows the name of the file. If an asterisk appears in the tab, it means that changes have been made in the file. So I'm going to go ahead and make a change here by deleting this text, and you can see the asterisk here showing me that I've changed the file but have not saved yet. On either Mac or Windows platform, you can click any tab to make that associated file active in the document window. Each document tab also includes a close button. So if I want to go ahead and close this without saving it, it will ask me if I want to save changes. I'm going to click Don't Save for now. On Macintosh, you can click on the red close button of the application frame to close all open files, but it does not quit the application. If the application frame is not active on the Mac and only one file is open, the Document tab information appears in the title bar at the top of the workspace. The Document toolbar is used to affect the appearance of the active file in the document window. If you don't see this toolbar at the top of your user interface, choose View, View Mode. You can select Live or Design, and I'm in Design mode, and we'll discuss that more in depth later as well. Buttons on the center of the Document toolbar switch the document between Design, Split, and Code view. Just for now, know that Design view is useful for visually oriented site design, providing a visual preview of the file, similar to the way it will open in a browser window. Visual aids make it easier to identify the various elements, such as page divisions that are used to create structure, but which do not necessarily have a tangible physical appearance. These visual aids interfere with the physical layout of the site, so what you see in the document window is not what you get in the browser window. You can use the menu in the document toolbar to toggle the specific visual aids on or off. You can go to View, Design View, and then toggle Switch Views and Visual Aids. You can select certain ones to turn on or off. The Properties panel appears by default at the bottom of the workspace. This panel is context sensitive, which means if I select a certain element, the panel will highlight all the tools that you need for that specific item. Split View shows both the Code and Design View windows. So here's the Code on the left and the Design View on the right. When split vertically is toggled off, the two panes appear on the top and bottom of the screen. You can go to View Split horizontally, and you can switch. I like to keep mine split vertically. You can toggle the Design View on the left option to reverse the position of the two panes. You can also choose Split Code View in the View menu. This view can be useful if you need to write code in one area that specifically relates or refers to code at another point in the page. If you select just Code View, it will only show you the code. And this is useful for those who are familiar with writing code, and you can ignore the visual design. Live View provides a way to test interactive elements. I'm going to switch to Live View now. You can't edit pages directly in Live View. However, if you're working in Split View, you can make changes to the code and then refresh the Live View to see the effects of those changes. If I select this text, it'll show me the code for it in Split View. In Live View, pressing the Command or Control key lets you preview linked files in the local site folder directly in the Dreamweaver document window. If I select the Amenities link here, and I hold down the Command key, it brings that page up in Live View. You can do the same with go back to the home page. I can open up other HTML pages as well. And switch back and forth. When working in live view, the browser navigation buttons function in the same way that standard browser navigation buttons work: back, forward, stop, refresh, and home. The live view also does not support non-HTML links. Clicking this type of file, such as an email link, will not go directly to the email. Keep in mind that navigating links in the live view does not technically open the linked pages. If you return to the regular design view, the previously active page is still the active one. It's always a good idea to test pages using the same method that will actually be used to display your pages, namely the various browsers that are common in use. You can go down here to real-time preview, and I have a preview in browser with Safari or Google Chrome selected. I'm going to select Google Chrome, and now I can see how this page will look on my browser. I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver and select Safari, and now I can see the preview in Safari. Different operating systems also introduce display variables, so what you see in Mozilla Firefox on a Mac might appear different from what you see on Firefox on a Windows. Keep in mind that I will be using a Mac, so I'll be checking all my work on a Mac, mainly using Chrome and Safari as my browsers. As a general rule, you should test your pages on as many browsers as possible on both the Mac and Windows operating systems. We also recommend testing files at regular intervals through the design process, then waiting until the very end to check your work. If you go to File, Real-Time Preview, you can edit your browser list and add other browsers. Primary browser is Google Chrome on mine, and then you can select secondary browsers. You can also press option F12 or just F12 to preview a page in your primary browser. This is a shortcut. You can also press Command or Control F12 to preview the page in your secondary browser. You can use the button in the document toolbar to choose a specific browser for the preview. In addition to showing exactly how the browsers render page code, previewing in a browser also allows you to test the non-HTML links, which is not an option in Live View. You just go back to View in Google Chrome again, and now I can click on my links and make sure that those are working. As you gain experience designing and developing websites, your site definition list will continue to grow. To keep your list under control, you can export site definitions and remove certain sites from the list. When you remove a site from Dreamweaver, you're not actually deleting the actual files or folders from your computer, you're just simply removing from Dreamweaver's view. As I did earlier, I can go ahead and come up to Manage Sites under my Files panel, save the site, and then I can export it. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out from this for now. And you can do the Dreamweaver user interface tutorial from the Against the Clock textbook, and it will go through removing the site at the end. So go ahead and go through that exercise, and then we will continue with our assignment files for this week.